Hi, Patrick-Annick,
Hello, Annie.
one of the partners within Transparency in Quebec.
Yes.
I'll give you some information about Patrick, who is he and what are we going to do here. He is an agile HR coach, but also an integral coach, meaning doing individual coaching. Patrick has shared a nice quote. He says, Patrick believes that human beings should be at the center of organizations. By increasing trust and transparency, organizations can build an engaging and inspiring culture. Wow, that sounds like a dream. So some background from Patrick. He has more than 20 years of experience in software development. Being curious by nature, he has evolved being a software designer, then a manager, and that brought him to that agile life, and then becoming a Scrum Master. He believes that it's really important to make workplaces and organizations get better value, to really put the individual at the center. So, Patrick, thank you for this moment.
Yeah.
As an author here, as a co-author from a chapter you wrote in the new book from Agile People, and it has the title of Transparency.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Is that a coincidence?
The short story is that when Agile People and Pia Maria offered this opportunity of co-writing a book with the Agile People community, I was there. I suppose I was there at the right time when all the Agile principles were up for grabs. And I think in the first hour that it was like offered, I jumped on the transparency chapter. I said, okay, that one, we meaning me and Céline from Transparency, we have to write this chapter. So it was a no-brainer. So I put my name on it and we have it.
That's awesome.
So we'll figure out what we'll write, but at least I reserved the principle.
That's really a nice one, because your business, that's the name, Transparency is what you're doing. Okay, so you joined in 2019, you joined Transparency in Quebec, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, looking to Agile People, what did draw you to work with Agile People first?
The people. Seriously, the story of Agile People and meeting with Transparency goes back last year in 2019, where we're in Montreal. We're in the French Canadian market. Okay. So the idea was to Transparency is all about agility, HR, and managers, and Agile People at the same mission. So the idea was to know more Agile People, their product, their the training, and it started with a basic email. Hello, when are you coming to Montreal to do a training? So Pia Maria just said, set it up, I'll come. It started like that. So okay, so we set up the venue. We did publicity. We brought people in. Pia Maria and Michael came in Montreal for the first time in Canadian soil, first time. So it started like that, and it's a pleasure working with both of them and all the others. It was easy to decide to join collaboration with them, and getting to get the various trainings and now offer them. So it's really it's fun to share these the knowledge, the learning. It's the learning path. It's not a training anymore. You saw with the online training, it's more a venture.
So, an adventure.
Yeah, it's a learning adventure. So yeah, so that's for us. That's why we join Agile People. There's an alignment in the values and what we want to bring to the worldwide community.
Yeah. Okay, nice to be aligned. So yeah, why did you choose to write about transparency? Well, you just said it. Your organization is named Transparency. That's your main focus.
And there's so many other agile principles that are great to work on. Yours that you wrote, self-leadership is a great topic. Self-organization, trust, authenticity. These are the ones that come. It's like there's so much to write about these ideas. We often just see them as words, like it's a principle that you have to be transparent. Okay, but what does it mean? What is it? What does it mean, transparency? It's not always well understood.
No.
That's why.
But we'll dive in there.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll dive in there a little bit in a few minutes. So a nice thing also, you have written that chapter, and how does that amplify your experience or your vision working with agility in organizations when you're focused here on transparency and collaborating with agile people? How did that bring a certain, you said already alignment, but maybe also a leverage, you get more content or more insights?
If I talk about the experience of co-writing the chapter, it was all about the purpose of the chapter is to give our view of what transparency is for the reader. And it was, we had to make difficult choices on the topics because it can go in many directions. So many times we had to keep focus and come back to the original intention, which was the HR professionals, the managers, the typical reader of the book, because we were going very deep on the self awareness or the self introspection about what is transparency. So, but what in agility and with agile people and organizations, what came out of this writing exercise, it was the for the reader that has the book, if he reads it, there's a small table that we put that we wanted to share concretely what does it mean on the day-to-day basis, what can you actually do. And by doing this exercise, we were able to make it practical more than just because transparency, it's a little bit abstract when you talk about it. It's hard to touch it. So what does it mean? So by going into the various typical HR activities and explaining or giving ideas on what you could do as an HR professional, that came out because we're doing it, but we never really took time to write it down. So by this table emerged from our various discussions and reflections about the chapter.
Nice.
That's fun to do.
I like it, like you say, it's a chapter we really had to focus to choose. So maybe the next step would be just a full book on transparency.
That came out of the ideas. Of course, we could write a book, and it was also, and I don't know if you had a similar experience in writing your chapter, but at one point we're touching the other agile principles there, since they're all interconnected. We were touching trust, we were touching authenticity, we were touching self-leadership, self-organization. It's all there's not one agile principle. That's why we have these 30 plus agile principles. It's like a organic mass
It's
of
alive.
all the, it's alive, it's organic. That's it. One doesn't come before the other necessarily. It's like it's all interconnected. So one emerge and it brings the other one. So, and one that we touched almost a lot and we had to put it aside, it's all the psychological safety.
Yes.
That was with transparency.
Yeah.
That's a very
That's
important one because you say something and if it's not safe, you get hit hard. So that's the reality in some organizations. That's why people maybe refrain from being too transparent or transparent at all because they're scared that something will happen.
Yeah.
So that's
it's not an easy exercise, huh? Absolutely. So could you define in a few words what you understand on what is transparency? Also with your experience in organizations, what is transparency?
Yeah. The one that comes now, because there's many answers. The one that comes is having what is required to work. That's what comes in. If we talk about specific organizations and in a team or it's really making sure that we're on the same page, making sure that there's another no hidden agendas. For me is that helps. Being transparent is removing the roadblocks of knowledge that we could put, that could be there, that could prevent a team or an organization to move forward. It's a lot about information. So, and it's always a balance between not giving any information and giving that all, which is both are not good. It's finding that sweet spot where it's the good information. And that's not easy because you feel it's a good information, but in the end, the others around you, it may be completely irrelevant or can be very sensitive. So it's all a matter of, it depends on your view on that specific information. So it's more than a couple of words, but the idea is that that's why it's a complex topic.
Yes, I can imagine. And then when we have that, being transparent, depending on at what level, not having hidden agendas, if we get to understand that and being all aligned on that, what can an organization or a team and even an individual gain by being transparent?
A great safe space. The psychological safety should go up. The people will be able to speak up. That will help for authenticity, help for trust, help for engagement. Again, we're talking about all these principles that are interconnected. So it will help nurture these other principles. And people will be less afraid to fail and say it out loud. Oops, I did a mistake. It's all connected again, trial and error. And so if you're able to say that, if we go back to typical agility, classic example is you estimated wrong. Oh, I thought it would take 2 days and it takes a week. But you explain why and you give the actual detail. Again, it depends if the other, if your manager understands you and if the safe space is there, he'll be able to listen to you and let's learn from it instead of blame. It's going to remove the blame game. So that's how I see the importance of transparency and on the work level, team level for an organization.
Creating then more openness for all to just say and do and be there for each other. Okay. But does that mean that people with being transparent could be just a team within one organization who decides to live through that principle? Does it mean that people can say everything?
No, that's it. No, because at the end, either the information is irrelevant. Too much information, it's like you're gonna get lost in it. The idea is to give the proper information that makes everybody move ahead one step towards the organization or the team goal. Now, of course, when we fall into the what we call sensitive data, and there's many various types, it can be financial, it can be personal, it could be a sick leave, it could be a performance issue with somebody in the team. Let's say, I don't know, a product owner talks to the manager, he says that specific team, that person is just, it doesn't work for any reason, and they talk like a behind closed door, and because maybe they want to see what they can do about it, and but that is not necessarily good to just tell openly to all the team. By the way, it doesn't work. It's weird, but maybe they can explain that we need to look at the I don't know, the competence of the whole team, the learning process. Maybe we need to work on it. But again, it's, if you say all, yeah, I think it's gonna
can hurt people also.
Yeah, that's it. It's like authenticity. If you're being too authentic, can hurt. It's always a balance between what makes sense and what you need to know to move on.
Yeah.
Again, it's a balance. It's really a case by case scenario. But
I can imagine that it doesn't happen overnight. You don't go to sleep and tomorrow you get up and you say, oh, today I'm full transparent.
Yeah, good luck with that. If you and back to the concept of all the interconnection is that I'm a very visual guy, so I see one moves one micro step and the other one also, and the other one also, and you fell, so it goes back and you need to correct it. It's all the principles that move and shape and increase slowly in time, and some come easy, some, and you change one item in the environment. There could be one person that goes out or comes in, can completely change the thing, because either that person, I don't know, it's either very a strong ego that can reduce transparency and reduce many of the other principles, because he's going to work for him and try to advance on his own profit, or so that can change. So that's where it's hard. And in organization, people change often, so it's almost always a step back when you change. Yeah, that's my experience, at least. That's how I see it.
It's really like a living organism then, that every little tweak you do within the transparency can impact your end result, and to be mindful of that.
And this, just what you said, it brings the magic phrase, manage the system, not the people, because it's the system that's always changing. So if you take care of it, even if it's changed a little bit, more sunlight, or a gardener, more sunlight, more rain, try to put umbrella, I don't know, try to cover it, and you work with that to make sure that that system is well attended to. So you get the best
attention to the people. No, that's no. We know a lot of things, but I believe it's nice for everybody, and even for me when I read your chapter, we know a lot of things, but when we read it, then the dots again start to connect, and you start to, oh yes, and it's not that hard.
No, but you need to start one little step at a time. Trial, experience, success, great, let's move on. Failure, let's define failure. Just what can go that wrong. So, okay, we learn from it, let's do it another thing. So baby steps, inspect and adapt. So
Yeah.
that's true for every principle you want to put in place. And the book brings something to the reader is awareness. You just said it. Most of the topics and the ideas we know.
Mm-hmm.
Just or if we don't, we know, but we don't have words for it. It's like you read it and it's, yeah, of course. But that's
Yeah.
awareness. Or I never thought about it that way. And again, if you take the book and you start reading the various chapters and you see the connections between all of them, yeah,
Yeah, sure. It
awareness.
brings another perspective, and within where you are in the organization, maybe also it brings
Mm-hmm.
to look through different glasses, and that's
Yes.
nice because now we saw around the organization, the individual, etc. But now, what would you say with your experience? Because you said it before, you also deliver online training within
Mm-hmm.
Agile HR. What could be the impact or the added value for HR to be transparent?
Ah. And I'll answer for transparency and being transparent, but I think you can replace transparent by any or many of the other agile principles.
Yeah.
They're at the center of it. Everybody in the organization works and collaborate with HR at one point. If they show the example, if they are more transparent and they live it, I feel it can propagate and just naturally be just natural for all the others because you show you work you do it. So
Yeah.
if you are transparent and people will feel it, maybe people won't think in the morning, my organization is transparent. Maybe they'll never think about that, but it won't they won't think about it, but they're gonna feel it, meaning that
Yeah.
they're gonna come to work, they're gonna feel good because there's a good vibe. The culture will thrive. You know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you need to go to work. If it's like you have that stomach ache,
Mm.
that's a sign that something's wrong.
It's
But
wrong.
if
Yeah.
you go to work and you're okay, today we're all going just to our living room and open up our computer, but when you have to
You're
go in your
happy.
workplace and you feel good, that's a sign that there is maybe transparency, trust, safe space. These are signs. So
Yeah.
back to HR, since that they're in the middle of all of it, that's why I really feel that they need
They
to show the
can
example.
create great impact then in the
Yes,
organization.
yes, because
Yeah.
will be inspired. The rest of the departments will be inspired by them. It will be contagious.
Yeah. And do
Yep.
you have any example within HR? I like when you said HR has to be. It's a question of being transparent. It's not thinking about, oh, I'm transparent, I give this. But what kind of example could you give to HR to really say, you know, you could just try to be transparent in this kind of area?
Yeah. If
What
I
would
um, if I quote an example that we put in the book, let's say for recruitment interviews, when it's often HR that has the first contact with that
Mhm.
the candidate, and there's a first like interview talking about a little bit about the organization and what is offered. I
Mhm.
feel that the closest you are to the reality of the business, even if it's not going well, because it does happen that it's not going well and you need to hire and you need to find a candidate and you don't want to trap him. You want to be true with him. So even if it's not that perfect, the
Mhm.
environment or the financial, or but you need him, you
Yeah.
say it to him, mention it. It's hard times, but we feel that you may contribute, and sometimes they will HR will polish everything clean and nice, and you come to work on the first day, it's like, oh my god, I did not expect that.
Yeah.
Ideally that never happens, that the person arrives and it's exactly what they were told, and
Yeah.
That's my, and it's an example of what the HR could do on transparency side.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, true. I can totally relate. It is. So from what I understood is that transparency is about finding or choosing your balance between what you show or share and what not. And also that's a way of being also in the organization. You said that for HR, but also in the organization, from organizational level, team, individual level, it's okay. And that we all just need to take baby steps to start being transparent.
Yeah, and if I can end, or with, I think the chapter ends with that quote, what are we hiding when we're not transparent? So it's a question you could ask yourself. If I'm not telling that info to that somebody, why would I keep it for myself? And it may be a good reason. It's a question you could ask yourself.
Yeah.
Again, maybe it's too sensitive and or it's not relevant.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's a good one. The question, why am I hiding it? Okay. Patrick, thank you very much. I really like this little time with us. I don't want to go deeper because otherwise the people won't read the chapter.
Yeah, there's much more.
Yeah, there's so much more content and examples and tips and tricks that, well, thank you anyhow. It was lovely having you.
I want to end with 2 fun facts that the reader, first fun fact, on the day that this will be presented, on the 9th of September, it's my birthday.
Woo!
So it's my present. So that's 1. 2, the fun fact, if the reader has the book, the QR code next to our names of Céline and I in the chapter brings you to a special place. It's call it an Easter egg. It's a surprise. So feel free to scan it and see what happens.
Yeah, then it will become transparent when you scan it.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
Okay. Oh, that's a beautiful gift. Well, anyway, thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you, Annick. It was a pleasure talking with you. And we wish ourselves next
Great time.
Great times with the book and the conference.
Yeah. See you
Thank you.
soon.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.